Jigme Wangchuk and Jetsun Pema are a wonderful royal couple. They have a fantastic love story that's just like a fairy tale from the East, and it has a happy ending. However, in their country's traditions, a king usually has many wives, especially if they are sisters of the first wife. The first wife has sisters who are really pretty, and the king could marry one of them. But people wonder why he hasn't done that yet, and why he can't marry the second sister. Can the queen accept the traditions of the king of Bhutan? Will this love last? To learn more about this, watch the video until the end and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video. Bhutan is a special place, almost like a fairy tale land, because it still follows old-fashioned ways. It is because it's far away from modern cities. Bhutan is found in Tibet, high up in the mountains. People there honor Buddha, and instead of cars, they use yaks for transportation. They measure distances by counting how many cups of tea they drink on their trips. It's like stepping into a magical storybook world. The people in Bhutan believe in things like coming back to life and destiny. The story of how King Jigme and his future wife Jetsun met probably made them believe in these things even more. They first met when the Crown Prince of Bhutan was 17 years old. He was pretty young, and Jetsun was even younger at just 7 years old. The prince saw Jetsun playing with dolls, looked into her eyes, and confidently told her, "When you grow up, I will marry you." Young Jetsun replied calmly, "Only if I don't find someone better, and you don't forget." This story shows how they met, and how Jetsun cleverly responded to the prince's bold statement. It's like a fairy tale come to life. What's so magical about this is that 14 years later, the young couple actually got married. During those years, Jetsun went to school in India and got an excellent education. Jigme went to Boston University in America and then to Oxford University in Britain. He also became a king, taking over from his dad, who decided to retire. It all happened in 2006 when Jigme was 28 years old. He became the youngest king Bhutan ever had. It's like a real-life fairy tale where the prince and the princess actually got married and lived happily ever after. 4 years later, something unique happened in the kingdom. The king remembered his promise to the little girl, and after 14 years, he asked her to marry him. It was probably an easy decision for him because Jetsun had grown up to be a smart, confident, and beautiful woman with both Eastern and Western charm. Since she couldn't find anyone better, she said yes, and the whole country celebrated their wedding. They got married on October 11th, 2011, which was considered the luckiest day by the court astrologers. The wedding ceremony followed ancient Tibetan customs, and after all the fancy rituals, a High Lama declared Jigme and Jetsun as husband and wife. The king, known as the Dragon King, crowned Jetsun as the Queen of Bhutan. One day, something surprising happened in front of everyone. King Jigme kissed his young wife right on the lips. Now, you might think, what's so special about that? Well, in Bhutan, it's a big deal because showing affection in public is not allowed. Many years ago, people could be sent to prison for doing that. But King Jigme loved his wife so much that he decided to break this rule. Surprisingly, the Bhutanese people didn't criticize him. Instead, most of them were okay with it. Times are changing, and Bhutan is becoming more open-minded, but the main reason people accepted it is that they really admire and love their king and queen. Even before they got married, Jigme and Jetsun often walked around the capital city holding hands. They could talk freely and even sit together at a cafe. It shows that they are not like traditional kings and queens. They are down-to-earth and friendly, just like regular people. Even after getting married, King Jigme and Queen Jetsun continued to act like regular people. Instead of living in a big castle, they chose to live in a small, cozy house. They still walk around the streets and show their love for each other in public. King Jigme didn't just love his wife, he also cared about his people. He worked hard to make life better in Bhutan. He gave land to poor farmers and helped the country develop industries. Queen Jetsun also played a significant role in modernizing Bhutan. She worked on improving healthcare, education, and culture, and she did a great job at it. Jetsun and Jigme have 2 children. Their first child, Kasar, was born 5 years after they got married. The king was very worried about Jetsun when she was pregnant, so he stayed by her side during the birth. 4 years later, they had another son named Yen. Nowadays, Jetsun helps her husband with international meetings and goes on trips to other countries with him. The royal couple of Bhutan often gets visits from noble people from other countries. One of the most interesting visits was when Prince William and his wife, Kate Middleton, visited the mountainous country. Even though they come from different places, some things are similar about the couples. It's not surprising that Jetsun became friends with Kate and even taught her how to shoot arrows. Jigme became close to the future King of Britain, sharing his love story, where he went against traditions that were followed for many years. But there's a tradition in Bhutan that might cause some issues. It's called polygamy, which means a person can have more than one spouse. For aristocrats, they're expected to have 3 to 4 wives, but it's different for ordinary people. For them, it's okay if a woman has 5 or even 10 husbands. Since the king was rich and noble, it was expected that he would have more than one wife. According to tradition, these wives were supposed to be the sisters of the first wife. Jigme's father, King Singi, followed this tradition very strictly. After marrying a girl named Wangmo, he married 3 of her sisters, too. Together, they had 10 children. Queen Jetsun also has 2 sisters who are just as beautiful as she is. According to tradition, the king could marry one of them too. But Jigme decided to break this tradition. He said that he wouldn't marry another woman again, showing that he believed in love more than ancient customs. Interestingly, his younger brother Dorji had to marry one of the sisters of Jigme's wife to make up for Jigme's breaking the tradition of marrying sisters. It showed that Jigme was different from his father and wanted to do things his way, based on love and not just tradition. She is gorgeous. So it wasn't an arranged marriage. Dorji, Jigme's brother, fell deeply in love with her because she was pretty and educated. He also decided to follow his brother's example and only have one wife. Even though one of the queen's sisters is still single, maybe one day, the king or his brother will change their minds. Interestingly, all 4 of his father's wives were there at Dorji's wedding. They supported Dorji's decision to have only one wife and smiled, although they looked a bit sad, too. The love story of the Dragon King Jigme and his wife is still going on. They rule the country together, enjoying life and love. Their lives show that true love can change even the old traditions of a whole nation. What do you think about whether they did the right thing by breaking the traditions or not? Share your thoughts in the comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. See you next time.